Yes, losing weight is hard. And I've never denied that. In every weight loss video that I've made, I have told you guys that losing weight was by far the hardest thing that I ever did in my entire life. And I've done a lot of hard things, okay? I've gotten a bachelor's degree. I run an online business. I bought a house. Like, I've done a lot of difficult things. But losing weight, hard. Very, very hard. But I promise you this, the longer you stick with your weight loss journey, the easier it becomes. And the reason why it gets easier is because you become a new person. For those of you guys who are new to my channel, hello, my name is Jasmine, and I'm so glad to have you. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about why losing weight gets easier as you keep going. But the problem is you don't keep going. You give up after 2 weeks because that's when it gets hard. But the only reason why it's hard after a few weeks is because you're battling with the old version of you who loves to overeat, who loves to comfort herself with food, who uses food as a form of coping with stress and anxiety. And you're also battling with the version of you who's trying to break free of that. That version of you wants to live a healthy life. She wants to love her body. She wants to feel good internally and externally, right? You're battling with that. But you always choose the easier route, which is the version that you've always known. If you've been overweight damn near your entire life, well, then you're battling with the version of you who's been this way for 30 plus years or however old you are. Being a new person, planting new seeds and walking in this new path is hard at first, but it gets easier. It gets easier because it becomes a new routine. It becomes new habits. It starts to become who you are. See, the version of me now, I am a healthy person. Like, I don't think twice about going to the gym. I just go. I don't think twice about walking 20,000 steps a day. I just start walking. Just like you don't think about brushing your teeth anymore, right? You just do it because that's just who you are. You're not going to walk around with funky breath, I hope. Well, the same applies to losing weight and living in a healthier body. It just becomes who you are. But so many people can't get to that mark because they refuse to just sit with the difficulty of getting there in the first place. Okay, changing who you are, changing habits, changing routines, that's extremely difficult. Like I said, you're battling with that version of you that's been around for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Of course, it's going to be hard, right? But I promise you it gets easier. And there are things that you can do on your journey to make it easier. One of the things that I did was I stopped being around people who do not prioritize health and wellness, okay? When I started losing weight, especially the first few months, I spent most of my time in the house. I didn't go out. I didn't go to happy hour. I wasn't going to family gatherings and things because I just didn't trust myself in those early days of weight loss to choose the smart option. Or even if I did choose to use that meal at a restaurant as my cheat meal, I didn't trust myself enough to get back on track for the next meal, right? So in order to avoid potentially moving backwards and staying backwards, I just avoided the gathering altogether. But the further along I got in my journey, the more of a new person I became, well, the easier it is now to get back on track. I'm not going to sit here and say that every single day is perfect. Of course, there are days where I eat poorly. Of course, there are days where I eat candy or where I eat chips, or where I may not be as active, right? Of course, I'm human. Nothing is ever going to be perfect every single day. But because I've been on this journey for years, it is so easy for me to snap back into reality and get back on track because that's just who I am now, right? If this was me 4 years ago, if I fell off, and I don't even like to use that phrase, but let's say I fell off of going to the gym for about 2 weeks. I probably would never get back on track. I probably would allow months to go by before I got back on track. A prime example is I had thyroid surgery at the beginning of April. And for 2 weeks, I couldn't lift any weight. She said I could still walk if I felt up to it. There was nothing wrong with that, but I couldn't lift weights because of the straining and the incision and just the possibility of kind of like rupturing the incision. And so after 48 hours of the the anesthesia getting out of my system, I got back to walking, right? And then once the 2-week mark hit and she cleared me to start lifting weights again, I was right back in the gym, taking it easy, right? But listening to my body, but still getting back into my routine because that's who I am. Now imagine if that was me at 340 pounds and I didn't live a healthy lifestyle. I would have allowed that surgery to be the reason why I can't start my weight loss journey for another 6 months. Because that version of me at 340 pounds was full of excuses. I was very undisciplined and I would procrastinate everything. But this version of me, I prioritize wellness. I prioritize exercise. I prioritize eating healthy most of the time. So it was so easy for me to snap back into my routine because that's who I am now. I promise you, weight loss gets easier. Maintaining a healthy body gets easier, but you have to allow yourself to change who you are. And that's the uncomfortable truth. You will not be able to lose weight and keep it off if you don't change who you are. You will never be able to be the version of you that eats fast food every day and maintain a healthy weight loss. That will never exist. And the quicker you can accept that, the quicker you can become that new version who's no longer struggling with making the right decision most of the time because that's who you are now. Weight loss is hard because you have to make the right decision most of the time. Every time you sit down, so for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, every time you are thirsty, right, you are battling with, do I go back to what I know and what I love, which is fast food and soda in my case, or do I choose the fruits and vegetables? Do I choose the water? Do I choose to eat at home where I can monitor how much oil I'm putting into my skillet? A lot of people choose what they've always known. And then that's why you can't keep the weight off because you are afraid to step into that new version of you. The version of you who is consistent. The version of you who follows through. The version of you who prioritizes her health. That's the version of you that you're afraid to fully enter into. But that's the version of you that you have to enter into in order to keep the weight off. And I am here to tell you that as it gets easier, you're going to look back a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, and you're going to be so proud of the progress. You're going to reflect back and be like, wow, I can't even believe I used to eat like that. And I do. I will literally look back at how I used to be. I'll see old pictures of me and I can't even recognize who I was because when I see that 340-pound version of me, I see someone who was just lost. I didn't even realize I was that big back then. I am still shocked when I see those pictures because I did not know I was as big as I was. I knew I was a big girl, but I did not know I was that big. I had no clue that I was that big. And so when I see it, I'm like, wow. Part of me still feels embarrassed in a sense because I'm just like, how did I allow myself to get that big in the first place? Why did I not stop it sooner, right? I wasn't born 340 pounds. That happened over time. Why didn't I stop that sooner? Why did I allow it to get that bad before I decided to make changes? I'm here to tell you that it's going to get easier. And if you stick with it long enough and you start looking back at how you used to look, you will no longer recognize that old version of you either. You're going to be shocked, especially if you have to lose 50 pounds, 100 pounds, 200 pounds. You'll be shocked at those pictures because you're no longer that person. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're no longer her. You can't even relate to what she was going through. Your past self. You can't even relate to it. I can't even relate anymore to being that undisciplined. I can't even believe that I never used to eat fruits and vegetables. The only time I ate fruit was if it was in something sweet, like an apple pie, a peach pie, right? That was the only time I ate fruits. Now I eat fruits every single day. For breakfast, I'm doing yogurt, strawberries or blueberries and granola every single day. The old version of me, never. Absolutely not. I can't even relate to that version anymore. It's shocking. I am surprised every single time I see a picture, an old picture of me. And I wanted to make this video because I just want you to understand, I promise you, it will get easier. It will not always be a struggle. You will get to a point where eating healthy is just what you do. You will get to a point where when you do go out to eat with your friends and your family, you choose the healthier option just because you don't like the way the fried food sits in your stomach. Like when I eat fried food now, it's extremely uncomfortable. So I just don't even opt for that. The old me, oh, I would have chose fried chicken, French fries all the time. The new me, I don't like the way it sits in my stomach. It's uncomfortable. So I don't even choose those things anymore. But in order to get to that point, you have to stick with it long enough. You have to just keep pushing. Stop negotiating with your plan. The plan is to lose weight, so just lock in on losing the weight. The plan is to make healthier decisions most of the time. I'm not even telling you all of the time. Just eat right most of the time. And I promise you, you will lose weight. And when you do finally hit your goal weight, you are going to be so happy that you did it. You're going to be so proud of yourself. And you will reflect back and say that it was definitely worth it. Leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I can't wait to read what you guys have to say. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and don't forget to join the Patreon. The link is down below in my description. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.